Yeah.
జాలబాబు గారు,
సార్
ఇమానుయల్ గారు వెనకాల బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్ మార్చాలండి.
ఓకే.
పేజ్ కనపడ ఈరోజు డేట్ వేసి చేసింది.
ఓకే సార్.
Okay, sir. So, shall I start, sir?
ఎస్ సార్.
Jalababu garu,
ఎస్ సార్. ఓకే సార్.
shall I start now?
ఎస్ సార్.
Right. Thank you. Good evening to you all. I'm introducing myself, Dr. K. Emmanuel, selection grade lecturer in chemistry and program coordinator. It's a great privilege for me to stand before you on behalf of the prestigious YVNR Government Degree College, Kaikaluru, Eluru District, AP, which was established in the year 1982 and affiliated to Krishna University, Machilipatnam. Our college is accredited with A grade CGPA 3.13 by NAC Bangalore in third cycle. Our college is provided with good classrooms, well light and ventilated, well established laboratories, vast library, and a good playground. The college is actually situated in Atapaka village, which is a world-class tourism place, is called Kolleru Lake. Kolleru Lake is the largest freshwater lake and is located in Andhra Pradesh. Kolleru is located between Krishna and Godavari Delta and covers an area of 308 kilometers square. It is famous for birds and aquaculture. I welcome you for the 2 days international webinar on research methodology in environmental sciences. Research is a scientific investigation. Investigation means a search for new facts and ideas in any branch of knowledge. Thus, we can say that research is a search for a knowledge. Research may be considered as a movement from unknown to the known. It is actually a voyage of discovery. Research is carried out for two purposes. One is the discovery of new facts, and the second, verification of the old ones. As you know, our natural resources are depleting very fast, and air, water, and soil are being contaminated. Biological diversity is decreasing, and many species are at the verge of extinction. Therefore, research in environmental science has a great opportunity to scientists, researchers, and others who are working in different aspects of environmental science. Research can be a great tool to solve the environmental problems. In this situation, our commissioner has encouraged to conduct an online webinar on research methodology in environmental sciences. When we approached the professors like Dr. Dolla Tarun, Assistant Professor, Geetam, deemed to be University Visakhapatnam, Dr. Rajkumar Balla, Professor, Department of Chemistry from IIT Madras, Dr. Arun Mankandan from Dublin City University, University of Ireland, Galway, and Dr. G. Jaswant, Technion, Institute of Israel have gladly accepted to address the gathering. Now, I am inviting the guests onto the digital dais. I would like to introduce the Chief Patron, Dr. Paula Bhaskar, IAS, Commissioner of Collegiate Education. And after assuming the charge, he has changed the scenario of education, especially in higher education in Andhra Pradesh. Now, I am glad to introduce Dr. Rapaka David Kumaraswamy, Joint Director, Commissioner of Collegiate Education. He is a workaholic man, continuously working for the welfare of the college education. Now, I have a pleasure to introduce Dr. Padma Dorothy Garu, Professor and Environmentalist, Geetam Dimitubu University, Visakhapatnam. Now, I have a joy to introduce Professor G. Gnanamani, Vice Chancellor, Krishna University, Machilipatnam,
Thank
who
you.
has done yeoman service to the society. We welcome you, sir. Now, I wish to introduce Dr. B. Raghunath Reddy, Principal, YVNR Government Degree College, who is instrumental in getting NAC A grade with CGPA 3.13 to the YVNR Government Degree College, Kaikaluri. We welcome you, sir. In this situation, I am very glad to introduce Sri D. Uday Prakash Rao, Vice Principal of YVNR Government Degree College. Thank you, sir. We welcome you, sir, onto the dais. Now, I am very glad to introduce the organizing secretaries of the webinar, Dr. R. Jala Babu, IQAC Coordinator, Dr. V. Sandhya, Head of the Department of Zoology, Sri K. Ramesh Garu, Head of the Department of Chemistry, Sri Nalluri Srinivasa Rao Garu, Head of the Department of Physics. On to the dais, sir. Now, I am glad to introduce Dr. M. Vijay Kumar, Lecturer in Zoology, and also the Joint Secretary of this webinar, and Srimati Y. Gnana Prasunamba, Head of the Department of Botany, who is also the Joint Secretary, and they are instrumental in arranging the two-day international webinar. Now I am inviting the resource persons on the digital platform. Dr. Dolla Tarun, Assistant Professor, Geetam Dimitubu University, Visakhapatnam. We welcome you, sir. Dr. Rajkumar Balla, Professor, Department of Chemistry from IIT Madras. We welcome you, sir, into the digital dais. Today, the second session will be taken by Dr. Rajkumar. Now, I am very glad to introduce Dr. Arun Manikandan from Dublin City University of Ireland, Galway, Ireland, who has gladly accepted our invitation. And tomorrow he is going to give his valuable speech. Now, I am also very much interested to introduce Dr. G. Jaswant, Technion Institute of Israel, onto the dais, sir. We welcome you, sir. Now, last but not the least, I have a joy to introduce myself, Dr. K. Emmanuel, Professor of Chemistry, and also Dr. P. Paul Divakar Garu, Department of Physics, Professor of Physics, and also coordinator of this webinar. And he is instrumental in conducting the third international webinar in the history of YVNR Government Degree College, Kaikaluru. Thank you very much, sir, for all the participants. That today we are going to start a very important and historical third international webinar on research methodology in environmental sciences. So thank you very much, sir. After taking all the dignitaries on the dais, their seats, now we are going to start our exact program by prayer and also lighting the lamp. Over to Jalababu, sir. Prayer.
या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करप्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा शुक्लां ब्रह्मविचारसारपरमा आद्यां जगद्व्यापिनीं वीणा पुस्तकधारिणीम् अभयदा जाड्यान्धकारापहा हस्ते स्फाटिकमालिकां विदधतीं पद्मासने संस्थितां वन्दे तां परमेश्वरीं भगवतीं बुद्धिप्रदां शारदाम्।
Thank you, sir. Thank you all the dignitaries on the dais, which you have participated in the lighting of the lamp. Now we are moving on to the next program, that is Principal's Opening Marks. Dr. B. Raghunatha Reddy Garu, the Principal, YVNR Government Degree College, Kaikaluru. We welcome you for your introductory words, sir.
Good morning to all. Good afternoon to all. I am Dr. B. Raghunatha Reddy, Principal, YVNR Government Degree College, Kaikaluru, Yellore District. Now, international webinar on research methodology in environmental sciences. Environmental research is the scientific study environmental process and systems, including the effects of human activity on these systems. The goal of environmental research is to understand how the natural world works. Human activity affects the environment. Research is a scientific investigation. Investigation means a search for new facts and ideas in any branch of knowledge. Thus, we can say that research is a search for knowledge. Research may be considered as a movement from the unknown to the known. It is actually a voice of discovery. Research is carried out for two purposes. One is the discovery of new facts, and the second, verification of the old ones. The object of every business organization, of course, is the discovery of new facts, new relationship, and new laws governing the business phenomena. But constant verification of the old concepts is also needed, especially in dynamic business environment. Environmental research is a broad field that encompasses topics from air and water quality to climate change. Environment is living things and what is around them. It includes physical, chemical, and other natural resources. Natural forces, living things do not simply existing in their environment. They constantly interact with it. Organisms change in response to conditions in their environment. In the environment, there are interactions between plants, animals, soil, water, temperature, light, and other living and non-living things. Nowadays, people afraid of the threat of third world war, but there are so many problems which are attacking the world in several ways. Terrorism, unemployment, financial crisis, and environmental disasters are also other problems which is going to be destroy the world. Out of them, environmental pollution is one of the dangerous which now the global is facing. It is very dangerous than nuclear weapons. Therefore, it is the need of the hour to invent new research methods in controlling the environmental pollution. It is the responsibility of every scientist of either pure science or social sciences to carry more research to protect our environment carefully in order to give life to future generations. In the light of the aforesaid challenging tasks, we believe that the present international webinar plays a vital role in identifying the thrust areas of research in assessing the pollution depth and involving the methods for controlling the pollution. No doubt the fruitful deliberations in the webinar world would yield the constructive suggestions and guidelines for the further developments in environmental sciences. I am appreciating the efforts of organizers and I wish a grand success. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful encouraging words for our webinar. Now it is time to introduce Dr. Padma Dorothy Garu, who is a senior most professor, and she was a postdoctoral fellow, and she was the lead research in European Commission funded EC project. She was with us. We are very fortunate to have such a great academician and researcher and environmentalist. She will say a few greetings regarding the webinar. Over to Madam Padma Dorothy Garu. Madam, over to Dr. Padma Dorothy Garu. Madam, are you there, madam? Dr. Padma Dorothy Garu.
Dr. Emmanuel T.
Sir.
There is a power problem in that area of Machilipatnam.
Yeah. So
let's see if she is unable to join. I think we can proceed with it.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So after coming to the madam is having some technical problem. After the problem is over, she will join with us. Now it is a time to introduce
మ్యూట్ అయిపోయింది ఇక వాయిస్ రావట్లేదు.
వాయిస్ రావట్లేదండి. మీది మ్యూట్ అయిపోయింది ఎమ్మెల్యే గారు.
Yeah.
Unmute-
Sorry.
Unmute change.
Yes, now it is the time to introduce our beloved Vice Chancellor, Professor G. Gnanamani Garu of Krishna University, by our Senior Professor of English, Dr. Pankaj Kumar Garu, and he will introduce our beloved VC Garu.
Good afternoon, respected members of the panel who are attending this today international webinar. I deem it as a great honor to present a brief intro of our esteemed Vice Chancellor, Krishna University, Professor Gnanamani, who is an embodiment of knowledge. He hails from a small village near Kujuvid, Krishna district, Andhra Pradesh. He was a loyalist and studied BSc at Andhra Layala College, Vijayawada. He obtained MSc Zoology and PhD from Andhra University, Visakhapatnam. He was awarded postdoctoral degree during 1981 and 84 from the State University of New York and Texas. Under his benign presence, 9 PhDs and 15 MPhils were awarded. He published umpteen research papers and articles in national and international journals. He is the recipient of H.R. Mehra Gold Medal in Climatology, a branch of zoology relates to the study of parasitic worms. He was awarded Gold Medal by Zoology Society of Eastern India. He is a fellow of Herpetology and Zoological Society of India. He organized number of conferences and training programs in parasitology. Apart from academics, he has taken up many administrative assignments, such as he acted as head of the Department Zoology, Andhra University, Chairman Board of Research Studies, Zoology, Andhra University, Principal, Andhra University College of Science and Technology, discharged the duties of Dean of Collegiate Development Council, Andhra University, Dean Academic Affairs, Andhra University, Dean International Students Affairs, Andhra University. Of late, he was nominated as member of state level expert appraisal committee, which focuses on environmental issues. Above all, he assumed charge as Vice Chancellor Krishna University, Machilipatnam on 13th July 2023. He strongly opined that under his able administration, the university will rise to greater heights in making Krishna University a center for excellence. His role in making the university for NAC preparedness is noteworthy. During a short span of assuming charge as Vice Chancellor, he has fulfilled the dreams of student community by arranging RO water plant. He made a good number of memorandum of understanding with the university abroad in promoting research and collaboration. Taking the aid of local elite, he has taken initiation for the construction of a bus shelter for the benefit of student community who are suffered sun and rain. The construction of buildings and hostel works, which were stalled for 1 year, have now gained momentum under his after his assuming charge as Vice Chancellor. Krishna University is fortunate enough to have such a gigantic personality like Gnanamani, who is an embodiment of knowledge and under whose administration it will flourish and prosper beyond boundaries. Thank you much for giving this wonderful opportunity. Make an introduction of our beloved Vice Chancellor, Gnanamani sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pankaj Kumar Garu. That we understand that Professor Gnanamani Garu is a vast experience and highly administrative man. And so, before going to give to the Vice Chancellor, sir, a small theme of the webinar by Paul Divakar, sir. After the theme of the webinar, then our beloved Vice Chancellor will going to deliver his valuable message. Now move on to Paul Divakar, sir.
Good afternoon, one and all. Professor Gyan Managaru, good afternoon, sir. A small introduction about the theme of the webinar. Environmental science is a multidisciplinary field that explores to intricate relationships between the natural world and human activities. As our Earth faces unprecedented challenges such as climate change, biodiversity loss, pollution, and resource depletion, there is a need of a rigorous research in environmental science becomes increasingly urgent. Climate change is one of the most pressing issues of our time, with far-reaching consequences for ecosystems, weather patterns, human societies. Research in environmental science is vital for understanding the causes and effects of climate change. The loss of biodiversity poses a significant threat to the stability and resilience of ecosystem. Research environmental science contributes to the identification of endangered species, the assessment of ecosystems at risk, and the development of conservation measures. Environmental pollution is another a threat which deals with the air, water, soil, has detrimental effects on both human health and natural environment.
Dr. Paul Divakar garu, you are on mute. Unmute yourself.
Yes, sir, it is, sorry. Resource depletion, balancing consumption and conservation, the unsustainable exploitation of natural resources, the well-being of current and future generations. Environmental research plays a vital role in assessing resource availability, identifying of sustainable resource management practices, and promoting the curricular economics. Before concluding, we must remember the words of Secretary General, United Nations. He underscored the need for global action on emissions, climate adaptation, and climate finance. He warned that the era of global warming has ended and the era of global boiling has arrived. Although climate change is evident, we can still stop the worst. He said, but to do so, we must turn a year of burning heat into a year of burning ambition. A well-defined and comprehensive research methodology is crucial for advancing the understanding and implementation of environmental sustainability. By integrating diverse research methods, engaging stakeholders, and leveraging technology, research can contribute to a more sustainable future. With this small introduction of the theme, I hope this webinar aims to think into the significance of environmental research in addressing the crucial issues affecting our environment and the imperative of sustaining Earth for future generations. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your brief theme of the webinar. Now it is time to our beloved VC sir. Even though he is not feeling well, but because of he has given the word with us, and we are very, very thankful to you, sir. Kindly deliver your valuable message, sir.
Yes, sir.
Over to
Thank you. Yeah.
Professor.
Thank you for all the kind words. I hope I am audible from this side.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Unmuted. Going by the protocol, Dr. Raghunath Reddy Garu, esteemed principal of this prestigious YVNR Government Degree College. Then the two wonderful coordinators whom we listen to all this time. Dr. Paul Emmanuel Garu, a very good contributor to the field of chemistry, and Dr. Paul Divakar Garu, equally eminent person in the field of physics. Other colleagues from this wonderful degree college institution, the faculty members. I also know one or two people, others personally. Dr. Sandhya is known to me. and esteemed speakers, participants of the webinar, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, and my namaskarams to each one of you in the Indian traditional way. Greetings to you all from Krishna University. Extremely happy, and I'm delighted personally to be part of this important webinar. And I thank the Honorable Principal Garu, Dr. Raghunath Reddy Garu, and the two nice colleagues, Paul Emmanuel Garu and Paul Devakar Garu, both personally came down to Machilipatnam, extended the invitation, and thank you all for making me part of this important academic activity. I would like to limit myself to words of appreciation and good wishes. I know the value of time, and on an online academic activity of this nature, we have to be as brief as possible. And the time of the speakers is more precious than the other aspects of the proceedings. And keeping that in view, I'm going to be assuring each one of you that I'm going to be brief in my remarks. First of all, I'll congratulate the team of the faculty of your institution for having chosen research methodology in environmental aspects or environmental research. But this is a topic of contemporary relevance. And I have no doubt in my mind that this is an area of practical value and applications. And to be very brief, to share with you my thoughts, quick thoughts on this subject or the theme of the webinar. Global environmental problems such as global climate, unsustainable development in many parts of the world, they are evolving as significant issues for the future of the planet and mankind. How human induced changes have impacted the Earth system and its environment have often been discussed in seminars of this nature, of this kind. And time and again, many of us are part of such meetings. We are part of those meetings to chalk out strategies, how to plan for proper remedial measures for the problems that we encounter. So these days, you all agree with me when I say that the buzzword is climate change, be it at the local level or at the global level, talking at the national level. A lot of talk on climate change. Honorable Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, in a statement last June, he made an observation: climate change is real and its impacts are already here. That's these are the words from the Canadian Prime Minister. And you are all aware, our Honorable Prime Minister often reminds the citizens of our nation on this particular subject whenever he gets an opportunity. In his meetings, in his speeches, he does make a mention of the environmental aspect. So we are all very clear that the need of the hour is to promote awareness among people particularly students. And it is in this context, the theme of the webinar, research methodologies in the area of environmental research, is highly relevant. And I just want to quickly share one aspect to impress upon all of you about the way in which the research is being carried out in countries like United States, and where we lag behind, areas where we can improve upon. This particular piece of information surely will be of interest to you. I have a friend in the United States. His name is Professor Ashwini Voleti. He's a student of Andhra University. I taught him for 2 years during his MSc Zoology. Then with my encouragement, I have mentored him to go to United States, and he became, over a period of time, he became a very good environmental scientist. Today, you will be surprised if I tell you, he is the president of a university. That's like our vice chancellorship in India. He is the president of the University of North Carolina at Wilmington, one of the very few Indian origin or Indian born presidents of American universities. So he used to have good funding for environmental research, and told me several times in personal meetings, either in India or over phone, that in United States, when a researcher is given a grant relating to research work in the area of environmental sciences, it is mandatory for them to organize a public meeting to promote awareness among the public, to tell public about the usefulness of the project, the positive beneficial aspects of the project to the community around. That's how things happen there. And I think we like to have a similar accountability, a similar practice, a tradition in our country too. Whenever we get an opportunity to work on a project particularly related to environmental aspects, there should, I honestly feel that there should be a coordination between the researcher and the community around. This is one point I would like to share with all of you on this occasion. And I'm absolutely certain that the academic activities of this kind, like the webinar today, relating to research methodologies particularly, they're much needed. Usually in research, we care a lot for methodology. We train a PhD student to be strong in the design of his experiments, proper planning. We advocate proper planning to carry out a piece of PhD study. So even here, in this particular context, environmental research, a proper understanding of the research methodologies is highly essential. And therefore, the theme of this conference, I'm quite happy that you have chosen such a important topic. This will be useful to the students, to all of us, including myself. I'm happy to share with you all that post-retirement, into 2021, I was given an opportunity, nominated as a member of the state expert appraisal committee. And this committee evaluates all proposals within Andhra Pradesh, we screen all proposals to give clearance to go ahead for mining activity, major minerals, minor minerals, sand mining, and so on, and building construction, constructions which involve above a particular. So, I got an opportunity to listen to the EIA reports. Environmental Impact Assessment Report is very, very crucial to obtain clearance for any of these proposals. Therefore, we keep hearing, we keep following what is happening in the state of Andhra Pradesh, what are the issues, problems faced by the public. There is a public hearing activity before clearance of all these mining projects. Therefore, the research methodologies that are going to be discussed, that are going to be shared with all the participants of the seminar, with all the faculty of the prestigious college and from other institutions, I'm absolutely sure and certain that this is going to be a topic of interest as well as of great practical application. And with these few words, I wish the speakers and all the participants a very productive, fruitful time. And one, before I close my remarks, my little speech, I want to appeal to Dr. Emmanuel G. and Dr. Paul Devakar Garu. Please prepare the resolutions, the recommendations of your webinar, and pass on your recommendations. At the end of the webinar, sit for some time and record your recommendations from the experts, from the participants, and pass on a copy to the Honorable Commissioner of College Education. He's an IAS officer, and to me, and I'll try to forward, personally give your recommendations to the appropriate bodies within our states, like the Pollution Control Board and the state government office, the office of the minister in the AP Secretariat, which deals with the environmental aspects, forestry and all. So please do discuss about different important areas. Biodiversity is one important area. Sometimes these meetings, they go on without even a mention of the most important aspect. I'm sure in your webinar, you are going to touch upon each and every important domain of this environmental research. And I wish you the very best. My greetings to you. And I feel very privileged to be part of this wonderful webinar, international webinar. My pranams to all those speakers who are going to share their experience in the, from now onwards. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your inspirable, valuable message. And definitely we will follow your recommendations, sir. After the webinar is over, we will record each and every resolution and we will send you to the CCE and also to you, sir. And we will discuss later. Thank you very much, sir. Even though you are busy, you have given your valuable time to address our gatherings. We are fortunate enough to have such a highly trained persons like you, administrators. We are very fortunate to have, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
My
Thank
pleasure
you.
and privilege, sir.
Now it is time to introduce our first speaker, Dr. Dolla Tarun Garu. He will be going to speak on research sustainable development goals, shaping your purpose on SDGs. So now, Dr. M. Vijay Kumar Garu, lecturer in zoology and the joint secretary of this international webinar, will going to introduce our dear speaker now.
Good afternoon, everybody. I take this opportunity to introduce our first speaker of this two-day international webinar, Dr. Arun Dalla. He is an active researcher in the area of sustainable development. He was a postdoctoral fellow at Department of Chemical Engineering, Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay. He received BTech degree in civil engineering from Acharya Nagarjuna University, India. Later, he was conferred with MTech and PhD degrees, specializing in infrastructure engineering and management by Indian Institute of Technology, Guwahati. His other research interests include public-private partnerships and infrastructure delivery models, construction 4.0, infrastructure sustainability, governance, and smart cities. Dr. Tarun worked on various research assignments and projects funded by agents such as Arun Jaitley National Institute of Financial Management under Ministry of Finance, Human Settlement Management Institute, New Delhi, Project Management Institute, and Erasmus Plus of European Union. He published more than 40 research articles in books, chapters, journals, and conferences of international rupture. He is the recipient of highly commended paper award at CIBS World Building Congress 2022, Melbourne at Australia. He is currently a member of working commissions of Collaborating for Innovation of Built Environment Canada on the W122 Public-Private Partnership Commission, W113 Law and Dispute Resolution, and W092 Procurement Systems. This is a brief introduction of our present speaker. And I now invite Dr. Tarun for his presentation on the topic Researching Sustainable Development Goals, Shaping Our Papers to Sustainable Development Goals. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Can you allow me to share my screen, please?
Yeah, Jalababu, please make Dr.
Sir,
Tarun Dalla
co-host
as a co-host.
Sir is now co-host. He can share the PPT, sir.
But we are not.
It's still saying host disabled participant screen sharing, please.
No, actually, he has not given the co-host. Jalababu garu.
Sir, okay, now he is co-host.
No, but there is no. After yes, okay.
Yes, sir. Now it is shared.
Yeah.
Now it is
Okay.
co-host is
Thank you.
enabled. Okay, sir. You are able to see my screen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are able
Okay,
to
sir.
see
Thank
you.
you. And since I'll put it on PPT mode, I will not be able to see your faces. So if there is any query, please raise your voice or anything, please let me know. And thank you one and all and for the warm introduction. And I thank Professor Emmanuel for this opportunity as well as the organizing team and the kind words said by the introducer. And as we were hearing from Vice Chancellor sir also, this opening talk gives me a pleasure as well as an opportunity to set the tone for the next sessions. So in that sense, I would like to take it in the given 40-45 minutes. I would like to touch upon the foundational principles of sustainable development goals. And that is what we have been hearing in various sources, various places, be it media or any scientific discourse or anything. You do hear about Sustainable Development Goals. Sir, am I loud and clear? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and in the second part of my talk, I would like to talk about sustainable development goals and research. I would like to take you from development to the research aspect of these sustainable development goals. And in the last part, I would like to leave some practical strategies for researchers and with a small framework to do research on sustainability. So the foundational principles, if you go back to the history, the word sustainable development is first introduced or developed when Brundtland Report was released in 1987. And this Brundtland is a name of a lady, Norway president, that time president, and she headed the chair of that commission. And in that report is this definition of sustainable development, which we are still using. The development that meets the needs of present generation without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. In a sense, what it says or what it means is that I will not consume resources which are necessary for the future generations. Let us say water. If I use all the water that is there, and then the next generation or next to next generation, from where will they derive water? So they also have their needs, and I cannot really borrow some material or resource from their needs. So in that sense, we also should meet our needs and they also should meet our needs. So that way we need to develop, and that development is coined as sustainable development. So if you take the history, how it progressed from Brundtland Report to the recent 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. When Brundtland Report is released in 1987, subsequently in 1992, Rio Earth Summit happened in Brazil. And that is where the discourse or the debate necessitating the development, which should be a sustainable one, started. And the focus of the whole world or the governments has turned to sustainable development. And now it is in every part of our politics or anything, you name it. Now, sustainable development agenda is implicitly or explicitly there in every part of our politics, economy, governance, not only in India, elsewhere, and not also elsewhere in India or states also. And this discourse has led to the development of Millennium Development Goals, MDGs, in 2000. So 2000 year is a millennial year. So they have coined these goals and said that, okay, in next 15 years, these are the goals that we should be achieving. And later, 2012, another summit has happened in Rio Plus 20, which is in Brazil again. So just before 3 years of this 15-year period, they took a stock of what was achieved, as well as what is new, what is promising, what is important, what is problematic, what is necessary, what is urgent. All these things they discussed and debated, and all the major economies, countries, governments, representatives, researchers all participated in the debate. And then they have come up with this 2030 agenda. The 2030 agenda, which was formulated in 2015, is what we see now as sustainable development goals. If you see on the top of my slide, all the small icons that you see are the 17 sustainable development goals. So in the political perspective, the politics of it is that the Agenda 21 was formulated in 1992, then World Summit on Sustainable Development, then the 2012 Rio Plus Summit, where the title is that the future we want. And 2015 is the year of inception for Sustainable Development Goals. So we are in this era. We are in the period of achieving Sustainable Development Goals. And Millennium Development Goals, the focus was from 2000 to 2015. And Sustainable Development Goals, the focus is from 2016 to 2030, a 15-year period. And MDGs did not cover everything. It did not encompass all aspects or all necessary facets of the prevailing problems. So according to SDGs development process, SDGs are much more comprehensive, wide, and importantly developed. So the fundamental principle in developing these sustainable development goals is that we should not leave anyone out of this agenda or goal. We should not leave anyone behind, and all important aspects across the globe, not just
Dr.
some
Tarun,
developed
sir, we are
countries.
having a,
Sir,
we are not audible completely from your side. Speak now, sir.
sir, am I audible
Yeah,
now?
now you are audible. Okay.
So what I was telling is that leave no one behind, and you should carry forward all the interests of the globe, all humans, not necessarily the developed countries and some countries, some parts of the world. No, all developed and developing or poor countries or whatever the terminology says, everyone should be taken into account. So that was the agenda of SDGs. And if you see, these are the 8 Millennium Development Goals. Okay, the first goal is eradicate extreme poverty and hunger, achieve universal primary education, and the Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan of Government of India and many other programs are actually stemming from this Millennium Development Goal 2, achieve universal primary education, and promote gender equality and empower women. That is the third goal, reduce child mortality. To some extent, India has done well to reduce the child mortality, improve maternal health, combat HIV, AIDS, malaria, and other diseases, ensure environmental sustainability. And the eighth goal was global partnership for development. So these were the goals. Some were achieved to considerable extent, and some are not really achieved. For example, eradicate extreme poverty and hunger. That goal was there in Millennium Development Goals, and little was done in that direction. It is not achieved yet, and that is the reason it is there even in Sustainable Development Goals. But they thought that it is wise to separate hunger and poverty and ensure that in a fine-grained manner, all these goals are achieved. So it adds emphasis to the achievement of this goal. So the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which are in force now, which we all researchers from every area, every specialization, every branch of science or engineering or technology or STEM, whatever you want to call it or identify yourself as, it's our job to work towards these 17 goals in whatever capacity that best fits to our area. So the first goal is no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, reduced inequalities, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace, justice, and strong institutions. And the last goal, 17th goal, is partnership for the goals. So you can see that this 8th goal is some sense modified version that is coming as 17th goal in SDGs. And so as we were discussing before, the Brundtland Commission definition of sustainable development has become a benchmark. And in this definition, if you see or if you observe the words that are there in this, you can understand that sustainable means something that has the capacity for continuance. Okay. And sustainability is therefore a quality. All right. Sustainability is a quality. And sustainable development, when you put it together, is the process over time by which this quality is achieved. There is some quality and there is a process to achieve that quality. So the focus on sustainable development, as we see now, with focus on triple bottom line, which I'll come in next slide, has started very recently. During the time of Second World War and things like that, people focused on economic and social development or human rights. And in late 1972 in Stockholm, the environmental protection has come into picture. Till then, people did not bother much about environment. And WCED, and that happened in 1982 to 87, that period. Not only environmental protection, but it should take the long-term perspective, and we need long-term environmental strategies. And so you can see the progression from economic, social, and environmental, which is consolidated now in our understanding as the triple bottom line. And this is the these are the three dimensions, major dimensions of sustainable development. You have social dimension, economic dimension, and environmental dimension. So earlier, if it is economy, the focus is always on economy. For example, as Vice Chancellor sir was pointing out, mining might give some money, but it damages the environment. So now the status quo is not that way. Even if there is an issue, very recently we had a talk by one of the judges of National Green Tribunal, and unless this balance is achieved or maintained in any project, they are imposing heavy fines. If not, they are scrapping the project. Means they are closing the project and putting in shelf. It's okay, we are fine, even if it is lakhs of crores of rupees business that might happen through that particular project. It's okay. We don't want something that damages the environment. So in a sense, there is a fine balance that is needed. And social aspects, for example, if a project displaces so many people, unless their social aspect, social dimension is taken care, we don't want the project. So that is the reason we see in Polvaram project also resettlement and rehabilitation plan, which is also part of the environmental impact assessment, has to be dealt with first, and then only the project receives a green signal to proceed. All right, so by these three examples, I think you will understand the importance of all three going together. And the pledge was of sustainable development was to leave no one behind, and it applies to all countries, all partner countries, and that is where the countries have to play a role for the within their population. And also there are certain things that they wanted as zeros. They wanted zero poverty, or rather put it, we want zero hunger, we want zero AIDS and cases, and we want zero discrimination against women and girls. In that sense, we want to nullify some aspects. We want to completely nullify some aspects. For example, in some states, we still have malaria fighting against people, and people dying because of malaria. So did we get zero? Like that? So think in that line. And everyone is needed to reach these ambitious targets, and research community plays a prominent role, which we all very well agree. And these 17 goals, if you go one by one, and sometimes names are very much evident. So if you take these goals, still at least 73 crore people are still in extreme poverty in the globe. That means it is more than half of India's population, isn't it? So 10% of world's population live in extreme poverty, and it is down from 36% in 1990. So that means some 26% of people have crossed the line of extreme poverty, but still 10% are still there in that, below that line. And some 1.3 billion people live in multi-dimensional poverty. So these are some of the chilling facts that are there. And we are so blessed that we don't fall into this criteria. But still, it is our responsibility to act upon in whatever capacity we have towards this. And zero hunger, the number of undernourished people reached 821 million in 2017. So hunger is not necessarily having some food, but it is about having nourished food. Malnutrition also affects people. It severely affects people. So these are some of the statistics we do have across the 17 goals. And at least 400 million people have no basic care and 40% lack social protection. And 1 million is 10 lakhs. So you can count that way. So 4,000 lakhs. And that means 40 crore people have no basic health care. And enrollment in primary education in developing countries has reached 91%. That's good number. And if you take our states, perhaps Kerala has the highest literacy rate, followed by some other states. So achieving primary education is very important. So we need to provide quality education. Gender equality, where women earns only 77 cents for every dollar that men get for the same work. So this gender divide and equal pay, we are hearing such slogans very recently, much more than what we heard before, around 2015 time. Clean water and sanitation, 71% of global population had safely managed drinking water in 2015, but 844 million people still lacked even basic drinking water. To give an illustration about the divide that we have in clean water and sanitation, in India, we have drinking water separately and bathing water separately, isn't it? We don't take a glass, put it across the wash basin, fill the water in the cup and drink it. No, we don't do that. But you go to developed countries, the water they bath with is actually potable water or drinkable water. So to give an example, if you don't, let us say Australia or UK or any developed country, you can put a glass in the tap in bathroom, fill water and drink it directly. So the irony is that is the level of water provision that they have. And you can see the divide that 844 million people still lack even basic drinking water. And drinking water is one of the major reasons of many contaminations and diseases, communicable diseases. And affordable and clean energy, we need less polluting energy. And 1 in 7 people still lack electricity. And most of them live in rural areas of developing countries or developing world. Decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, reduced inequality, and sustainable cities and communities. These are some of the goals. Responsible consumption and production. For example, fish can be taken as a good example to understand this point. If you fish all the fishes in the nearby lake, water bodies or oceans or lakes, etc., you will not have sufficient number of fish that can sustain or produce an offspring. And that is the reason responsible consumption comes in place. You cannot really fish all the fishes that are there. And that is the reason you have some regulations like you can only fish during these seasons. And especially during breeding season, fishing is prohibited. These are some of the policies that have come up out of this goal. All right. And climate action, we are heading towards irreversible damage. In a sense, to limit warming to 1.5 degrees centigrade, global net CO2 emissions must drop by 45%. And I think a few years back, the world pollution level reached 400 ppm of tons of CO2 equivalents, which is actually achieved in last 100 or 150 years. So it's an exponential growth. It's a drastic exponential growth. And if you don't control the emissions now, the warming up of Earth will not be reversed. So it will be a permanent change or permanent damage. So life on underwater, life on land, peace, justice, and strong and partnerships for these goals. Okay. So these are the goals. All right. And these goals intent that no one should be left behind. And these have 169 targets, where out of which 107 are substantive targets and 62 are means of implementation. All right. So means of implementation means those are that is the path that we need to take to ensure that these 107 substantive targets are achieved, and cumulatively we are achieving all the sustainable development goal targets, isn't it? Unless we have a target, we cannot really reach the destination. And this triple bottom line, if you map the 17 goals, social aspect, you can see gender equality, reduced inequalities, economic and social combined, you can see no poverty, zero hunger, quality education, recent work and economic growth. Likewise, at the intersection of all social, economic and environmental, you have affordable and clean energy. And all these three dimensions will not hold strong or sustain if the institutional dimension, the governance dimension, if it is not there, then it will not hold together. So if you map these 17 goals in among these 3 + 1, 4 dimensions, this is what you get. And people also develop principles. Okay, this is the principle we need. So for example, universities also do have vision and mission statement, right? What value does it have? Yes, it do have setting the tone, and that is the vision by which they will develop actions to achieve that vision and mission. Similarly, researchers developed core principles. And some of the core principles, we can see that socio-economic system integrity and things like that. Now, moving to my second part, which is that sustainable development goals across diverse disciplines. And predominantly, I want you to, from now on, whatever I said is the theory or history of what is there already. Now, from now on, you need to think about your research area or domain in every slide that I speak from your perspective, from your eyes, from your own perspective. All right. So sustainable development goals are diverse and a lot of disciplines are needed to achieve them. And Elsevier, one of the popular publishing house in the world, has done this initiative. What they did is they're mapping all their publications in all the journals that they publish to these 17 sustainable development goals to see how much is really being done, which goals are getting more attention, which goals are getting less attention, and how should we go about this particular aspect. So if you see SDG Research Mapping Initiative of Elsevier, you will get the latest data. And these people produce a lot of data sets for researchers to understand and know. And based on the research that is compounded till 2021, what they found is SDG 3 has the highest volume of research, which is good health and well-being, followed by SDG 7 and 9, which is affordable and clean energy, that is 7, and 9 is infrastructure, isn't it? So we do understand that some aspects are getting more attention and some aspects are getting less attention. It's fair enough, no problem with this alone. But as a researcher, what we can always think is, among these 17 goals, perhaps you might have done PhD or you're guiding some scholars or you're doing your own PhD. Will my problem statement fit in any of these goals? Think in that line. If not, can I come up with a problem statement that addresses, in some sense, one of these goals or more than one of these goals? That will help you, and you can also publish your research in good and top-rated journals. And if you see, by this exercise, academics are paying attention to sustainable development goals. All right. And to note one of the statistic, Elsevier published over 1.2 million papers across all 16 Sustainable Development Goals from 2017 to 2021. So identify one goal or few goals where your research area or your research interests closely align with. That can be a potential area from which you can pick your problem statements or topics for research.
My 22వ సంవత్సరానికి సంబంధించిన టీచింగ్ డిపార్ట్మెంట్ సిస్టమ్ నా దగ్గర 23, 24 ఉన్నాయి ఇక్కడ.
Sir, you are able to see my screen? Slides?
22 టీచింగ్ ది గెస్ట్ ఫ్యాకల్టీ ఉన్నారు చూడాలి వాళ్ళది రిజిస్టర్.
Hope I'm audible, and we will continue if there is no distraction. So the third part, as I promised in the introduction remarks or opening slide, the third part that I would like to talk about is practical strategies for researchers. So this part is something that I always like, and it is not that you have a good paper, you have done very good research. It's not sufficient, or it's not the end of the story. You need to tell your research to others, maybe to your peer community, or appropriate means even to masses or public, isn't it? Now, research is not a closed room activity. It is for people. So a good research should be reported in a good paper. So that is the ideal case, which we want always. And the first topic choice is something that we have seen so far. Read all the goals, see which areas match, then pick a topic, explore the research area in that domain of that area, and see how best, given the limited equipment, analysis methods, or resources that we all do have, the limitations, within the limitations, see whether you can pick a topic that is doable. And then the research design is something that your area decides or dictates. So I cannot comment on this when, let us say, your area and my area are different. A zoology area might demand certain research design methods, and so that is your subject specific. So I'm not going to touch that in detail. But again, I'm going to touch setting the hook. You know hook, right? So if you want to fish, you will take a thread and put a hook, which is typically like a C-shaped or things like that. And this hook will catch the fish when you put a bait to it. So with that illustration, I want you to think about your readers, the people who read your paper, that they should be attracted to your work. They should enjoy reading your paper, and they should find it interesting, useful, meaningful, and they should feel that it has some meaningful contributions made to the research community and to society. All right. And again, I'll talk about discussing the implications, because how hypothesis and crafting methods and results are, again, subject specific. We will not be able to generalize in this session. The first aspect in topic selection is significance. And there is something called grand challenges. All right. Some mathematician has come up with this term, David Hilbert. He said, these are the unsolved problems, isn't it? If you see MDGs and SDGs, what are those? The problems that are not yet addressed, the goals where we haven't reached the destination. So taking that inspiration, these grandest of the challenges are nothing but the millennium MDGs and SDGs. For example, eradicate global poverty, disease, and hunger. And if you are able to pitch your paper or your area or your thesis in these dimensions, then it will obviously give good significance to your work. And novelty is very much pressed by everyone. So one way to check novelty is to consider whether a study addressing it would change the conversation that is already taking place. Something that people thought this is right, but your paper suddenly challenges and change the direction. Okay, that is not the direction in which we need to progress to achieve this goal, but this work which I did shows the right direction. And curiosity and novelty and significance, I will give a small illustration. We do have spark plugs in our cars or bikes, right? So spark plug will give spark and will switch on the engine. It will start the combustion process within the engine. While a novel topic will start the engine, it doesn't end there. You need to take your bike or car on a trip. You need to travel. So this curiosity is like traveling. Novel topic gives the start. That's all. You need to have a good communication that sustains the curiosity and help the readers or readers of your journal or your audience to sustain and spark the curiosity. And trust me, this curiosity element is there in every field, you name it. I don't know about mathematics, but apart from that, in every field, you can see this aspect of curiosity. And scope, which is actually casting a wider net, you need to ensure that all the relevant literature in that field is already considered. Okay, you cannot really ignore and think that it is not done, and you might do it again unknowingly. And once you have these 4 characters, the 5th character is that actionability, which means it should give some practice insight. It might be a product application, or it might be a practice that you are developing, or a prototype, or something that is changing the process or cutting short some steps to achieve something. It may be process innovation also. And the introduction part of your paper is the most important one. And I want you to think in light of what we were talking so far, what we were discussing so far. You need to set the hook and establish what do we know so far and what we did not know, and knowing that how it will affect us, or so what is the question. And in introduction, you will ensure that you will communicate what will we learn in this paper. And the process, we need to spend good time in writing, and you need to avoid over promising something that you did not do, or something that is beyond what you have done, commenting on results beyond what they speak, lacking focus, sometimes switching from one paragraph to another paragraph arbitrarily without a flow, logical flow, sometimes switching from one sentence to another sentence without any flow. These are some of the pitfalls we should avoid. And introduction is, in a sense, a mini summary of your entire paper. Same is with thesis. Introduction is your mini summary of your entire thesis. So to get your topic ideas, perhaps you can go to some resources, read on the goals, the statistics, and maybe you can identify. See, these goals or statistics and the descriptions will not give a problem ready-made, but they will give some pointers. When you think about it, you will get some good ideas. And I want you to think, data in itself doesn't mean anything. Data is, if you accumulate, it becomes information, and processed information gives rise to knowledge, and knowledge, when applied, gives rise to understanding. So for example, if you draw a graph, just by showing that graph, you cannot expect your reader to understand what that graph is trying to say or communicate. It is your part to tell that in your writing. So there is an importance of storytelling in research also. And think about this. This is called hourglass. We see fine sand falling, and it will have a specified time. So this is called hourglass. And by this, people have developed some structure to understand how to write papers. So there are different ways of structuring the basic story. And in want of time, I think I have another 5 minutes to conclude. So the four basic structures of storytelling When I say story, don't think about it as if it is a movie story or anything. No, you have done some, you have something interesting to do, work on. You worked on it, you produced results, and you are reporting that in a paper, journal paper or conference or a book or whatever it is. So your research story, what you found and how is important in terms of the pressing sustainable development goal and challenges. So these are some of the ways in which you can structure the paper. So you will introduce various variables or characteristics of your variables, and what is the specific question that you want to address. That is what you will show in the knowledge gap. Then you will introduce materials and methods. Once you perform some tests using the materials and methods, you will get some results. Results, you need to interpret the results. You cannot just leave the results and think that the reader will understand by himself. No, you need to interpret the results and tie back the results back to literature and show what knowledge gap you have addressed. And then you will conclude drawing implications of your paper. So in this hourglass structure, which is OCAR, opening, challenge, action, and resolution. See, if you see this OCAR, you're starting with opening. You go to challenge, you act, and you have a resolution. But the beautiful thing is the end point where someone else will start, the point has already progressed forward. So that is what you should understand. The story comes back to its starting point, but the starting point has moved forward. So this happens in every research. You are moving the research forward. You are pushing the envelope forward. And it is important that you understand the ways to write, importance of sentence in every article, and the first sentence that you write in any paragraph, it should communicate what you want to say in that paragraph. Likewise, every paragraph, if you make it, then it will become a perfect piece of writing. And so introduction, opening basically introduces the larger problem the paper is targeting. Background is what information that the reader needs to understand the specific work the authors did. You need to tell some definitions or meanings or context or background or some statistics or some usages that are used which are not exposed and things like that. And there you will end up with a challenge. What are the specific hypotheses, questions, or goals of the current work? Then you will describe your materials and methods, results, and discussion. Okay, I'll conclude with a few take-home messages. I encourage you to apply sustainable development goals in your teaching, perhaps by developing new courses and, more importantly, research as well. When you teach and becomes part of your teaching, you are exposing yourself to this necessary and pressing area. And obviously, you will be encouraged to research on that. And think of your area and problems in terms of these 17 goals. And shape your research articles by setting the context from sustainability point of view. Choose areas from less focused area by identifying important areas among SDGs. And please draw the attention and sustain it by making an effective introduction to your paper. And there are some awards also in these dimensions or 17 goals. Atlas is one of the awarding agencies where research on these goals is being recognized and awarded. If you want ideas, read those papers. Then you will get ideas. Remember the economic, social, and environmental aspects that encapsulates the goals and fit your area to the goal. For example, a biologist may explore sustainable agricultural practices, while a sociologist may delve in gender equality and social inclusion. So everyone has a role to play to achieve these 17 goals. So by recognizing the university of the sustainable development goals, you can tailor your investigations to contribute to the overarching vision and more equitable and sustainable world. This is what I wanted to communicate. If you have any queries, please raise them.
So
Hello.
would you like to ask any queries regarding this session? you can ask directly to Dr. Tarun, or you can give your queries through chat also. Is there anybody? Are you having any queries or doubts regarding this wonderful lecture?
All right then.
So
Thank
thank
you
you,
for
sir.
your patient listening. Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Thank you, Tarun, that you have given a wonderful lecture on the developing sustainable development goals, shaping your papers. It's a very nice topic. In future also, we will associate and work together in this field. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Now,
Thank you.
thank you very much for your valuable time you are sparing here. So,
Thank you, sir.
we are moving on to the next session. Before going to the next session, an important announcement regarding the certificates and as well as regarding the paper publication. So, you will have to complete the webinar and you will have to fill the feedback forms. Then only you will get the certificate. As far as the publication of paper is concerned, we are going to publish the book chapters in the form of an ISBN number, which is useful not only for our CAS, but also for NAC purpose and API score. So therefore, it is a multidisciplinary one. You can have 4 authors per paper, and after selecting the paper by our editorial team, you can send the amount for that each paper. Each paper comprises only 4 authors and 1,000 rupees payment. So actually the deadline is over. We are having lot of papers with us, and some more persons are very much interested to send, and we are extending our date up to 1st February 2024. If anybody wants to send your papers, please send your papers the said mail by 1st of February 2024 by 5 p.m. This is the last chance for those who are interested, really interested, to write a book chapter which is going to be published in a book edited with an ISBN number. Now it is time for the second speaker, and the second speaker is Rajkumar Balla. He is the professor, Department of Chemistry in IIT Madras. Sir is on a meeting. He will join with us within a few minutes. Before that, Dr. Sri K. Ramesh Garu, head of the Department of Chemistry, will introduce Dr. Rajkumar Balla, Professor, Department of Chemistry, IIT Madras. Over to K. Ramesh.
Good evening to all. Myself Ramesh, head of the Department of Chemistry, YVNR Government Degree College, Kaipilur. It's great privilege to introduce Dr. Rajkumar Balla, Professor, IIT Madras. He is completed his post-graduation chemistry in the year 1996 at Andhra University, Visakhapatnam. He also completed his PhD in environmental science at Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. While doing his PhD as a research scholar, he involved the establishment of a single pulse shock tube facility and the laboratory to do the high temperature chemical kinetics at IIT of Science, Bangalore. From June 2003 to May 2006, he worked as postdoctoral research associate at Aeronomy Laboratory, Boulder, USA. He appointed as assistant professor in 2006 at Indian Institute of Technology, Madras. He is promoted as associate professor in 2012. He also promoted as a professor in 2018. He published more than 100 research articles in international journals. He was also awarded so many prestigious awards like Fellowship in National Academy of Science, India 2020, Fellow of Royal Society of Chemistry 2020. He also got a bronze medal of the Chemical Research Society of India 2019. Also, he is member, a editorial advisor, board of the International Journal of Chemical Kinetics. He is also associate fellow AP, Academic of Science 2016. He also received 200 crores rupees from various funding agencies who do the projects. Under his supervision, 14 students awarded PhD, 10 members doing PhD under his supervision. Thank you for giving this opportunity. Now I welcome Dr. Rajkumar Balla deliver his speech. Thank you.
Sir, Dr. Jalababu, sir.
Sir,
Actually, Dr. Rajkumar Balla is in another meeting. He will join with us with 5 minutes, within 5 minutes. Do you want to instruct anything regarding the publication of the paper?
okay, sir.
Please give
Thank
us some guidelines regarding that, such that some of the participants are very much interested to send their papers. Please give the instructions regarding the paper publication.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Good evening to all. That is the welcome to a 2-day international webinar on research methodology in environmental sciences. Some instructions related to the feedback and the certification of this international webinar. So only one feedback form will shared to all the participants in the WhatsApp group. So the WhatsApp link is also shared to all the emails of the participants. If anybody not join in the WhatsApp group, please join in the WhatsApp group, because the feedback form shared only in the WhatsApp group only. So that's why all are requested to join the WhatsApp group of this international webinar. And after filling this feedback, and immediately you will get certificate through your registered email only. So the please carefully fill the feedback form. So without any mistake of your name, designation, college, and the place of your institution. So there is the only one chance to fill the feedback form. So that is the information about your name, credentials are important. And about this book chapter publications with the ISBN number. So we have received that is about the 40 papers, and some of the authors also give permission to send their papers, that is the couple of days. So we are extended to send the research or review articles for book chapter. So the up to 2nd February 5 p.m. And so the after review of your article, so we'll give the acceptance, then only you will pay the amount of 1,000. So that is I will give the instructions of the authors. So they are in the prescribed format of abstract, keywords, and introduction, and objectives, discussion, and conclusion, and references are compulsory for this publication of the book chapter with ISBN number. And
Dr.
this,
Jalababu, sir,
sir,
our resource person has already joined. So can you please give him chance? Dr.
Okay,
Rajkumar Balla,
okay, sir. Thank
please
you,
make
sir.
him the co-host.
Okay, sir.
Rajkumar Garbu, yes, he is on the line. So thank you very much, sir. I am Dr. K. Emmanuel,
Sure, sure. Yeah.
the program
Good afternoon.
coordinator.
Good afternoon, sir. Yeah.
Good afternoon. We are very much fortunate to have on this platform, even though you are very busy. You have provided your valuable time, and the participants are eagerly waiting for your inspirational speech, sir. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Okay. Should I start?
Yes, sir.
But
Sir, you can share your PPT. So you are the now co-host, sir.
no, but I think Ramesh told me that there will be an introduction. I mean, some kind of an introduction.
No, actually that is over, sir. Before you came here, no?
Oh, we have done it. Oh,
You have done
Yes,
it, sir.
sir.
Yes, yes.
oh okay,
yes.
fine, fine.
So
Yeah, sure, sure. Not
that's
an-
over to you, sir.
Absolutely. Yeah. Can you see the this one
Yes, sir.
slides?
Yes, sir.
Is it visible?
Visible, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Is it in full screen mode?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right. So now I am given time of about 40 minutes. Now it is 4:30 exactly. So yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Ramesh, for the opportunity that to address the government degree college lecturers of Andhra Pradesh state. So as probably in the introduction it was mentioned that I am from Andhra Pradesh. I hailed from Srikakulam district of Andhra Pradesh. And then after PhD at the Indian Institute of Science and a subsequent postdoc in the USA, I've joined here in this institute in 2006, and now currently I'm working as a professor at the Department of Chemistry, IIT Madras. So today's title is Pollution and its Chemistry, a Threat to the Biosphere. The title is very directly implicative that it indicates that the chemistry, whatever we are doing, and we are releasing the chemicals into the atmosphere, they create the pollution, and they the pollutants what are being created directly or indirectly would be threat to the biosphere. Biosphere includes all green living objects, including all animals, including humans. Okay. So anyone who is interested to know about me can visit any of these websites about the work that I am carrying out. And anybody wants to write to me, they can directly write to me at rajakumar@iitm.ac.in. Okay, now let me get into the subject. See, all of us are aware that atmosphere is categorically divided based on the structure of the composition of the atmospheric gases and the temperature, pressure, and various other parameters. The structure is like, it is a troposphere where we live, stratosphere, then it comes, and mesosphere after that, and then thermosphere, and further it is ionosphere. So if you look at the structure of the atmospheric pressure and temperature, temperature always goes down when we go up. That we experience when we go to Ooty, that kind of places. And then what we do not realize, but it is a fact, is the pressure goes down. Okay. Temperature is non-linearly going down. And you see, you can see up to minus 60 degrees fall up to 10 kilometers of altitude. And then there it is a stagnation, and then further rise into the in the temperature in the stratosphere. It comes almost close to zero. Again, there is a stagnation. This is called stratopause. And then again, there is a fall in the temperature. You see, this is a negative scale. All right. So the reason for this kind of zigzag behavior is almost like it is a direct reflection of the zigzag chemistry. The stratosphere chemistry is really, very complex. And the exothermicity, endothermicity, all the things play together, and therefore the temperature is kind of increasing and all. And when you talk about the pressure, for every 10 degrees, 10 kilometers of altitude from the seashore, you find a drop of 10 in atmosphere from 1000 millibar. For example, at 10 kilometers, at 0 kilometers, that's at the surface of the, near to the seashore, it is 1000 millibar. And at 10 kilometers is 100 millibar. And 20 kilometers, it's 10 millibar, and so on and so forth. And therefore, the pressure variation is linear, whereas the temperature variation is zigzag. And we need to know these conditions in case if you want to mimic the atmospheric conditions in the laboratory, and if you want to do the experiments. Okay. Today, I focus mostly on the troposphere and the stratosphere, because these two, regions of the Earth's atmosphere are relevant to us. Okay, for the survival of the biosphere. If you look at 25 kilometers from the horizon, that is from above the surface of the sea level, the ozone concentration is peaked up. Like it's very high. That is where the concentration of ozone is maximum, and beyond which it is declining, and behind which also, below that also, there is a decline into the temperature. Therefore, this region that is about 25 kilometers from the seashore, of course, that depends on this season, location, and various parameters in the globe. It need not necessarily be at 25, but it's a diurnally averaged distance. Okay. And this ozone should be protected. Unless this is protected, if you see look at this cartoon, the ozone layer is protecting all the biosphere. Therefore, we are all playing here in various capacities. Right? Therefore, the ozone layer is very important for us to survive, as it shields down all the ultraviolet radiation that is being emitted by the sun. See, sun emits all radiation, right? And by the time it comes to 25 kilometers from the surface of the Earth, it would have filtered all the radiation, including gamma radiations, everything. Okay, but ozone and visible radiation will be left. So, ultraviolet radiation and the visible radiation will be left. And ozone takes care of the, ozone layer takes care of the ultraviolet radiation. It doesn't transmit the UV radiation to the biosphere, and then visible only will come out. Okay. And visible radiation hits everything and we see, we are able to see each other because of the available visible radiation, and then it hits the surface of the Earth. And then when the Earth surface is absorbing all the radiation, what would happen is, how long it would keep on absorbing. At one point it emits, it's a black body. Therefore, when it emits, it does not emit visible radiation, but it does emit the infrared radiation. Therefore, infrared radiation, when it is emitted by the Earth, it is supposed to go back to the sun. But what happens is, as we did not receive all the radiation from the sun, from the other side also, this radiation emitted by the Earth's surface, which is infrared, will be absorbed by all the chemicals that we are releasing into the atmosphere. Therefore, it is like we are walking with a shield of molecules, it's an umbrella of molecules, which is protecting, which is covered above the surface of the Earth, which means what would happen is, the radiation which is supposed to go back into the space do not go out, and rather it would be absorbed by all the molecules. Therefore, the globe gets warmed up as the radiation is absorbed and it is not transmitted back into the space. That is called global warming. Okay. Now, if you look at the ozone layer, this is in 2018, October 1st, our largest, if you see, it's about 10.6 square million kilometers. That is, which is about square million miles, which is about 27.5 square million kilometers. And if you look at the red zone, this is full of ozone. And the deeper the blue, the loss is so high. So it is a kind of hole when you look at from the top of the 25 kilometers, about 25 kilometers, we look at, if you take the satellite picture, this is how it is. Okay, this is the data given by the NASA. And therefore, you can see how much damage we have done. So having said that ozone is lost, do we need to worry about what are the reasons why this has happened? And therefore, let us get into those details. And what we call is friends forever. Friends in quotes means it's not real good friends. The chemicals, pollution, photochemical smog, and then global warming and ozone in the troposphere. Ozone in the troposphere is not at all good for us, whereas ozone in the stratosphere is very good. So entire atmospheric chemistry and physics is all about these 5 inseparable friends. Okay, these 5 elements is in a lighter note, right? We call about 5 elements, right? We have Panchabhutas. So these 5 are detrimental to the Earth's atmosphere and a good friendly chemical composition. And therefore, we have climate issues, we have cyclones, untimely cyclones and hurricanes, and we have untimely rains without even cyclones. We have seen kind of earthquakes also in a mild note. And more than anything, the ice glaciers are getting melted. If you have heard in the recent news, there is something called Jamba virus, which is actually in the frozen ice, the glaciers, which is coming out, which is supposed to have been buried in this one in the ice some 4,000 to 5,000 years ago, and that's coming out now because of the global warming and the ice glaciers are being melted. It's very, very detrimental to the survival of the biosphere, right? And then if you look at this, see, volatile organic compounds, in short, we call VOCs, they are emitted into the Earth's atmosphere via industrialization and a very nice way of, the third picture, you see that very nice way of, burning it. That means we are not socially responsible. We just burn it and release the chemicals in the atmosphere. And you see that, the kind of vehicles that what we use is like, we don't care about their maintenance and internal combustion engine, how efficient is the combustion engine is, and whether the fuel is completely combusted or not, what kind of soot is being formed out, and how much that soot is getting into the atmosphere, what kind of respiratory, inhalatory problems are being created, and the biosphere is suffering. Not only because of, not only humans and other living animals, even the greenery is really, really tortured with this, kind of emissions what we do. And all of you know, this is the cultivation, burning of the cultivation waste. That is the major reason for the New Delhi pollution. All of us know about it. And trash burning is something which is very, very nasty way we do. It's not the way we are supposed to do it. And agricultural pollution, we use all kind of pesticides and all. Therefore, all these, if you look at the black arrow, all these can percolate into the soil, and the water is contaminated. And we never know that. We may think that when we dig a well or a bore well, we think that pure water should come because this area is clean. But what we don't know is these chemicals can actually percolate through thousands of kilometers, and they can get into the water scales, which we actually get when we drill a hole into the earth, and bore well, right? Therefore, this leads to a serious health hazard, right? So we need to worry about this, and we will see what we can do about it. Okay, how these are affecting also we will tell you. We will discuss. See, look at this. This India Gate, New Delhi. Just you see this. If you on any given day, you just go there and stand in front of the India Gate that is backing the Rashtrapati Bhavan. If you see this, this is the plight of the pollution in Delhi. And if you turn this side, just exactly opposite, you are supposed to see Rashtrapati Bhavan. You cannot see. The left side is south block and right side is north block. And you can't see any of these, particularly in this season. Okay. So this is all, it's not man-made, human-made. It is essentially, it's not nature given. It is anthropogenic. That's a very, very nasty contribution that we humans, particularly humans, we are doing. Okay. And what are these composition of the chemicals? Generally, nitrogen, ozone, water, and carbon dioxide, nitrogen. See, this is supposed to be the composition. But there are mixture of gases also contain suspended solid and liquid particles, what we call aerosols. So these are the things which naturally formed aerosols. They take care of the light and they scatter the light, and we see all beautiful phenomena like rainbow, and necessary radiation comes in and unnecessary radiation is thrown out and all that. But unfortunate thing is these solid and suspended solid and liquid particles, which are indirectly formed because of the chemicals that they are released into the atmosphere, they play a very dirty role. And let me show you what is the actual composition of the chemicals. You see, this nitrogen is supposed to be 78%, and this is about, oxygen is about 21%. Rest is argon is maximum about 0.9%, and carbon dioxide is about, this number is subject to the correction. It is 4.2. Okay, last two is 4.2, that is 420 ppm. Okay, and these are the trace gases, these black ones. Okay, let us see what are those trace gases. Now, if you look at the composition here, the nitrogen is, if you take nitrogen as 1, that is maximum normalized with respect to the concentration of nitrogen. Next comes oxygen, and then CO2, and then methane. Methane is in ppm level, and all these chlorofluorocarbons we have used for the refrigeration, air conditioning, and everything in 1960s to 70s, thanks to Henry Ford Research Corporation. And all these chemicals are in the range of 10 to the -9 to -12, that is parts per million, parts per billion to parts per trillion, even femto kind of concentrations. And these are very, 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 very tiny in concentrations, but the effects that they have shown is really, really adverse. Okay, it is not that how much you have, but what that guy is doing. All right, some people are good and they don't show, but some people are really, really bad and they don't appear, but they are very small in percentage in the society, and the damage that they cause is really adverse. It is a similar way. All these compounds, what we have released, we are actually seriously, damaging ourselves. And these compounds actually have eaten up the ozone to deepest possible extent. Okay, although these chlorinated compounds are responsible, but all others are also equally responsible. For example, methane, it lives very, very long, and the emissions of the methane gas from the animals and all, these gas, the second largest abundant gas, and global warming is a greenhouse gas, and global warming is because of methane too. So one way we are losing the ozone, the other way we are actually we are actually heating the globe by emissions. Natural emissions are fine, but unnatural emissions are not. If you look at, as I told you, if you just look at this black line, this is what I am elaborating here. If you look at this is about argon about 0.9, water vapor is 0.4. Finally, CFCs, you see 1 into 10 to the minus 7%. That is so tiny, but the damage caused is so huge. So greenhouse gases seems to be very low in the concentration, but why? They do play a very vital role in the ozone chemistry and global warming. This is a question that we need to understand. Okay. And if you look at this, carbon dioxide is 400, this number is also not correct. It's now 420 ppm. This is the latest day before, okay? So CO2, which is actually, this red one is all CO2 is concentrated on that, okay? Let us see. Natural way, about 121 billion tons of biomass is released, and is removal is 123 billion tons is removed natural way. That means whatever is being produced, it is taken care by the nature. And the seas and oceans release about 90.6 billion tons, and they do absorb 92.2 billion tons, but that is, they absorb more than what they release. In total, natural resources release about 212 billion tons and absorb 214 billion tons, which means the emissions are less than the absorptions. Natural system has taken, naturally, whatever is Almighty has given to us, it has taken care. But unfortunate thing is, where from this carbon dioxide is coming? It is because of the anthropogenic emissions. Mostly human errors, right? I'll show you what one by one. Unnatural, how much it is? 10 to 30 billion tons per year we are doing. And where do it go? Where does it go? It cannot be absorbed by the system. Therefore, it is left out. So, which is about 4 into 10 to the 38 molecules per year we are releasing. It is a huge amount of carbon dioxide. Okay. And because of this, again, I'll show you this picture. Now we'll see the reasons for this ozone loss. Okay. And look at this. When a CFC is released into the atmosphere, what would happen is the ultraviolet radiation that is released by the sun that detach the chlorine from the carbon atom, and you look at that goes out, and this is ozone, the CLO is gone. And if this is again, I'll go back, and if this is ozone, one molecule, one CFC is fine. It's only one ozone molecule is lost. You look at this. All right. So this is not the case. The case is, it is a cyclic process. It's a chain reaction, many reactions. But even this could explain only 5%. If one chlorine atom can destroy close to 1 million ozone molecules, how is it possible? The possibility is not a simple chemistry. It is a heterogeneous chemistry that happens in the Earth's atmosphere. Can you believe heterogeneous chemistry happens in the Earth's atmosphere? We all know that the medium is homogeneous, right? But unfortunately, what happens is heterogeneous chemistry. I'll explain. Look at this. You see this picture. This picture is taken from an aeroplane in the stratospheric region, about 50 kilometers altitude from the surface of the Earth's surface. And the clouds, what you are seeing, are not actually real, simple clouds, which means an aeroplane cannot penetrate through. It cannot pierce through and go. If the aeroplane hits those clouds, aeroplane will be blasted. It will crash, because these are floating ice pellets, and they can float from, the size of the pellets can be 1 micron to tens of kilometers, because these temperatures about minus 60 Kelvin, 60 degrees Celsius there, and therefore the clouds they are formed are called polar stratospheric clouds, that is in the polar region, right? Particularly in southern hemisphere. Okay. And if you look at this, when sun rises, what happens is, before that, let me go back. On the surface of these clouds, all these chlorinated compounds, see, wherever you release the compounds, if there is a cold trap, all the molecules go there. What we do, distillation. We do distillation and we use a cold trap to collect the molecules. Same thing here. In the Earth's atmosphere, this cold trap is the polar regions. So all this goes into all these molecules go and simply sleep over the surface of the polar stratospheric clouds, and when the sun rises in the polar dawn, that is in the early morning, what would happen is the chlorine is focused. All the inactive chlorine becomes active in the sense it is chlorine. This is atomic chlorine, or if you call chlorine radical, fine, but this is atomic chlorine. And all this chlorine, what happens is they keep on destroying the ozone. And this could explain about 95% of the ozone loss. Because of this invention, Maria Molino from MIT and Paul Crutzen from the Germany. This institute is a very popular institute, in Germany, and is Roland is from Canada. And these three individuals, got the Nobel Prize in 1995 because of their work in atmospheric chemistry, particularly concerning the formation and decomposition of ozone. Okay. And all these three guys are, chemists. Okay. So, and if you look at one molecule, that is the case. Look at how many molecules have been released into the atmosphere. They are released into the atmosphere, particularly the red one, that's Freon 12, which is released about 425,000 of metric tons for release over about 1945 or 1950 onwards till 2000. And then Montreal Protocol came into picture, and enough damage is, whatever damage is done is enough. Just let us stop the uses of these CFCs. Now, it's very easy to say, right? But what is the remedy? I mean, we need to find the alternatives. Of course, we are intelligent animals on the planet. Therefore, we started working on this. That's a different story. Let us not get into those details. But CFCs are not being used anymore. They are now CFCs and HFCs, and people are talking about ethers, right? And these are the alternatives to these compounds, because air conditioning is required, refrigeration is required. Without air conditioning and all, you cannot even fly. So this is the condition. So our life is changed. Therefore, these freons are very essential. Earlier, ammonia people used to use, and now it's not allowed. So now freons are not allowed. So hydrofluorocarbons are not allowed. Hydrofluorocarbons are also, now they are saying they are causing the global warming. Therefore, they are not allowed. So we have limitations of everything, every compound that we use. Therefore, we have to scientifically, and we should come up with certain molecules which cannot even, we should not be able to say that, okay, this compound is detrimental to this particular thing. This compound is not good for this particular. So we should try to get to a point where a safe molecule, safe quote unquote, to the biosphere, okay, is yet to be identified. Okay. And now, see, regional air pollution, 1950 they have found. This is London Bridge, right? And then next one is acid rains. You see the sculpts were really completely corroded. Okay. And then ozone depletion. And then you see the climate change. And all these are impacts of the air pollution. Okay. And first one noticed was regional air pollution in London fog, what we call. That's when actually atmospheric chemistry came into picture. And British government, then they have given a lot of money to do research on that. Okay. By the way, that is the time where a lot of revolution happened just after the Second World War for the development of scientific technologies, the scientific methodologies and technologies to identify many such things. Okay. And now, and aerosols, see, once you release into the compound, these compounds, and they get nucleated, and then they form a small molecules, and the condensation or coagulation form molecules up to 1 micron, particles up to 1 micron. And then you know how the clouds are formed. Above this, water gets started accumulated. And 1 molecule, 2 molecules, thousands of molecules, millions of molecules, trillions of molecules, many molecules. And the clouds are formed, and then they get rained out. Once they rain out, all these aerosols comes out. Again, the cycle continues. Okay. Therefore, we should be cautious of what kind of chemicals we are releasing. Suppose this is a acid, sulfuric acid, then definitely you will have sulfuric acid. That is, therefore, you have the acid rains. Okay. And it's a process. It's when you release the compound into the atmosphere, your role ends there. And nature takes care of rest of the things. Okay. See, for example, once you release condensation, primary particles, coagulation, chain aggregation, and then again homogeneous nucleation, heterogeneous nucleation, all these become droplets. And you see the size of the particles changes based on the kind of methodology they adopt to become aerosol particles. Okay. And now you look at this. Can you believe you can see coronavirus, right? 500 nanometers to 1 micron size. That's why none of the masks actually could filter the coronavirus. Even people who are wearing the masks were affected. Of course, it is reduced, but because you need to inhale water, oxygen. Therefore, still, these are the particles which fall in this region. These are all, by the way, whether you believe it or not, what is happening is people did not understand it's only mass. That's what we thought, but actually it spreads over the air. It has spread over the air, and they become aerosols. And no matter where you are, whether you come into contact with another patient or not, once it is in the air, for example, particularly the closed room, the hospitals, when they have made corona centers, that actually spread a lot. The people who got it, they got cured, but the people who went along with them, they all got because of that. Because all these aerosols are all around. Okay. So the particles can go from 100 picometers till 10 centimeters length. Okay. The fungi, everything, they all fall in the aerosol category. Okay. All right. So now let us go to the domestic. You see, joblessly, a person smoking a cigarette sitting in the lawn, you see he is releasing not just nicotine, but about 4,000 chemicals. Can you believe this? So mother cooking lot of stuff for the kids to, for the people in the house to survive. She will be releasing lot of chemicals too, but at the same time we have to use it. Otherwise, what do we eat? And in the cold countries, we use all kind of, flame inside the home. So that produces many chemicals. So what this picture particularly shows, what and all these chemicals are released. Okay. In the combustion, anthropogenic emissions, the compounds, what are written here, CO, CO2, NO2, polyaromatic hydrocarbons, and all these compounds. And, allergens are like, dust, pets, bird, all these things, all the things which are released because of the other animals, virus, bacteria, they are all pollutants in the atmosphere. Okay. The pollutants need not necessarily damage the climate, but they can damage the biosphere by spreading other kind of diseases, right? And if you look at the pollution, about 8 billion premature deaths globally in a year, which is essentially close to, population of Chennai. Okay, right. It's even close now to 1 crore. So all these things, respiratory issues, you see outdoor air pollution in Eiffel Tower near. If you look at that, and it's not clear, haze, and cooking stoves, like, in India or some other underdeveloped countries, people are still using the, straw. And then, all these things lead to the air, all this air pollution lead to the premature deaths. So, and if you look at this, highest rate of deaths are in Afghanistan, and lowest is Canada. Okay. So this is per 1 lakh people. This is the 2016 statistics. We will get again in 2021, but I couldn't get it. 2026, we should get it. Okay. Fine. Now, chemistry and transportation. How much time I have? About 10 more minutes, Ramesh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So, see, if you look at this, the chemistry is cyclic. I do not want to get into the details, but emissions are here. And once you emit, please remember, whatever you throw, it will come back. We throw banana shell in the next door, the other person will throw back the jackfruit shell. Obviously. So you give 1 rupee, you will get 100 rupees back in the negative sense. Okay. So you release all these compounds and they form the clouds, and then they all come back. In the process, what has happened is the chemistry is the dominant one. And they produce a lot of chemicals. You think that you have only released methane, but you will end up in getting benzene later on because of the oxidation by hydroxyl radicals, ozone, and many things. Okay, now daytime chemistry is dominated by OH, that is hydroxyl radicals. Okay, and then towards the end of the day, what we produce is ozone here, particularly in the troposphere. Okay, and in the night time, nitrate chemistry applies because light is not there, therefore OH is not there. But that also that will produce the nitric acid. Okay, so whether it is a day or night, if you are not careful, we end up in getting what you deserve. Okay, that's my bottom line. Why I want to share. And heterogeneous chemistry is like the droplets. People think that the droplets are very minute, but all the chemistry that happens in the droplets, it's a very hot field now. People are spending a lot of money to understand what are the sources for the various varieties of molecules that are being found in the atmosphere. This is because it is not the surface chemistry, but it's inside the surface of the particles. What is happening is the chemistry. So that chemistry could lead to lot of formation of lots of compounds. Okay, this is called simply bulk phase chemistry. And people are really working on that. Our group is also working on that. Okay. And now the chemical transportation, we think that we release chemicals here, but you see CFCs, when the compounds are released, the x-axis is kilometers, y-axis is years. Look at this. When CFC could travel about 10,000 kilometers, it could stay in the atmosphere about 100 years. Freon 12, for instance, it can survive in the atmosphere without even damage in 625 years. That means you have used and released. Next to six centuries, we'll have the issue. It's not today. Okay, that's what I wanted to tell you. And you see, stratospheric transportation and oxidation process takes 1 to 40,000 kilometers. That means by the time the molecule is moved about 40,000 kilometers, it would have lived about 600. It would continue to live for about 625 years. Okay, that is the meaning of that. And when you see this, the photochemical smog, I'm telling you, all these compounds which we release, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, particulate matter, ground level ozone, all these compounds, when we comfortably we travel and we release, go in the aeroplane, we release a lot of polyaromatic hydrocarbons. And all these will form the smog, photochemical smog. Okay, combination of smoke and fog, combination of gases and water vapor dust forms when heat and sunlight react with gases and occurs often, with the heavy traffic, high temperature and calm winds. So this is the result is limits the visibility, decreases the UV radiation, yellow or black color over cities, and causes respiratory problems and all kind of bronchial diseases. Okay, and now you see the lockdown really helped us to understand a lot, and people are much cautious, if not in our country, but definitely in the developed countries. You see, the day before the lockdown, this was the situation. And during the lockdown, the India Gate, can you believe this India Gate? You can see like this. You go today. Last month, this month 6th, I went to Delhi and I couldn't see anything. It's really terrible, right? And this is before lockdown from Punjab, Chandigarh, Aisar Mohali. I've taken one of my friend took the picture, and this is you can't see the Himalayas. And start of the lockdown, this is you can see the Himalayas. And after 1 month of the lockdown, you can even see the ice. Beautiful, right? So essentially what it means is you should stop using the vehicles. So keep walking everywhere. Okay, which is not possible. Electrical vehicles is good. Solar driven vehicles are really, really good. But where do we get it? That's the point. So as I told you, if you remember, we are walking with all these chemicals over this using an umbrella, a chemical umbrella, and it absorbs all the radiation. You can look at the scales here. Some compounds absorb here, some compounds absorb here, some compounds absorb here, some compounds here, some compounds. See, all this together, put together, essentially IR radiation wouldn't go out of the globe. That's the bottom. Then the globe gets heated up, all these ice glaciers gets melted. Remember, if the ice glaciers are melted, Himalayas are going to go down. Okay. So ice glaciers are melted. That means the Himalayan Mount Everest will not be the tallest mountain anymore. Okay. Not only that, many Rocky Mountains will get down, and many things. So floods will go up. Okay. Okay. Now, with this, what I will say is the next 5 minutes, next 4 minutes I have, but I will take 5 minutes with the permission of the chair. And I will tell you what exactly we are doing in the lab. Very, very quickly, I'll tell you. When the compound is released into the atmosphere, you see the radical formations, right? And they absorb the light and dissociate, and they react with hydroxyl radicals and dissociate. Either way, they are getting dissociated. So when they absorb the light, we should be able to see, we should be able to measure the rates at which these reactions happen, right? When the radicals are formed. And if the compounds are lost via OH radical reactions, therefore a reaction is happening, right? Therefore, we need to measure the rates at which these compounds are being, losing their identity in the troposphere. So that gives a direct parameter that, okay, we need to worry about what are the chemicals that are being released into the atmosphere. One first thing what we do in the lab is, if you look at laser-induced fluorescence, what we use. All audience are lecturers only, right? They're all MSc qualified. Is that right? MSc or PhD?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'll technically talk now. So that I just want to know before that, because if the BSc students are there, they may not be able to understand. So if you look at this is hydroxyl radical. You excite from ground electronic state to upper electronic state at one wavelength, and see at another wavelength, and you can see another intersystem crossing, and then again you see at 308. So the idea is you want to study the reaction of OH radicals with a compound X, for example. You excite them and see the fluorescence. And with respect to time, the intensity of the fluorescence goes down because of the concentration of OH goes down, because the reaction is happening, right? Excuse me. Okay, so using this technique, we have developed this equipment called laser-induced fluorescence technique. You can see, you can use, you don't need to understand all these techniques, all these details. All that you need to understand is we produce hydroxyl radicals here using one laser, and we probe the hydroxyl radicals using another laser. Okay, and this is the probing method, what I have shown. So, and we measure the concentration of hydroxyl radicals at various time intervals. That is how we measure the concentration. What is kinetics? Kinetics is, after all, the variation of concentration with respect to time. So we follow the emission phenomena and then measure the kinetics. So this is the cell, what it is. I'm just showing only a critical parts. Okay, I'll show you the lab picture later on. And this is the actual setup. Okay, and we follow the loss of concentration of OH in terms of the intensity of the fluorescence using a photomultiplier tube. Okay, rest is not. It doesn't matter. Okay, and then I'll just give you one example. This is the compound plus OH radicals. Okay, we have studied. Don't go into the details of the technicalities and the experimental details, but you look at the essence of it, and you vary the concentration of the compound. And there are 8 concentrations we have changed, and each dot, the distance between each dot is the time interval between the generation time and probing time. That is measuring time. Okay, and you can see the slope is increasing with respect with when you increase the concentration. You fit this data. This is for this particular one for one temperature, but there are several concentrations. Like that, you carry out the reactions for several temperatures and fit the data, and then you get the rate coefficients for the reaction, and you can see Arrhenius plot here. What does it tell you? It tells you the temperature dependence of the reaction. That means what would happen if the reaction happens in this temperature range? Please see, surprisingly, it is a negative temperature dependence. That means with the increase in temperature, rate constant decreases. So this is essentially the reason why the temperature goes down when you are going up if these kind of reactions are happening there. Okay. With this, see, I'll escape all this. I will show you one more technique which is fascinating. See, this is something I will show you. These 3 slides I'll explain and I'll wind up. See, look at this. This is called cavity ring down spectroscopy. I told you when the compound is released into the atmosphere, it will dissociate also by absorbing radiation. If they dissociate, how do we measure the kinetics? We have to measure the absorption of these radicals. How do you measure? You need to have a super sensitive techniques because the concentrations are parts per million, parts per billion. So for that, you need to have super sensitive. See, super sensitive techniques. This is a ring down spectrometer, which are actually, I'll explain in a very, very layman language. This is a cavity with the 2 highly reflective mirrors. The reflectivity is 99.99% here, 99.99% here. So when you let the laser pulse get in, what happens is 99.99% of the light gets back and 0.001% of the light gets in. And it comes here, 99.99% of that 0.001 light gets back and 0.001% of 0.001% of the total intensity comes out. Therefore, you are measuring the intensity of the light, which is coming out as 0.001% of 0.001% of the total intensity. That means a very tiny amount of light leaks. By the time, because it's not allowing the light to go out of the cavity, it builds a cavity inside because this light goes in and travels in between. So by the time the photon loses its intensity in a natural way, it would have passed the, traveled a path length of about at least 100 kilometers. That means if you take a UV visible spectrometer, the path length of the cuvette is just 1 centimeter. But here I have 100 kilometers path length. And when you have 100 kilometers path length, Beer-Lambert's law is epsilon LC. I have made the animation here. You see that? This is how it is. You see, every time it comes, I have a photomultiplier tube and I measure. Okay. And I collect the data and in the absence of anything, and then generate the radicals and measure this. So all the information I get is the ring down time constant or time constant with the sample and without sample. And now it's a simple Beer-Lambert's law. And now you see Beer-Lambert's law is A is equal to epsilon LC. If you plot absorbance versus concentration, excuse me, it should be linear line, but it is not, because as the concentration increases, what we see is in the laboratory experiment, the saturation. Therefore, the measurement in this region is very good, and in this region it's absurd. Therefore, you cannot measure the, do the kinetics measurements in the high concentrations. So you have to reduce the concentration. To what level you can reduce? I can reduce to 10 to the power of minus, 10 parts per billion, parts per trillion. You can ask me, sir, why are you struggling to increase the path length and reducing the concentration? The reason is very simple. Because you need to mimic the atmospheric conditions. The concentrations of the species in the Earth's atmosphere are in parts per million, parts per billion. For that, you need to do this. So with this technique, we have built a spectrometer called cavity ring down spectrometer. This is the radiation we use to generate the radicals, and this is the radiation we use to measure the radicals. So once you know the absorption, you can measure the concentration of the radicals with respect to time. It is one and the same. Okay, I don't want to go to the details, but this is the experimental setup what we have built in. Remember, this is not purchased; it's all built. We spent almost 12 years to build this spectrometer. What you are seeing everywhere, if you pack everything, that is called spectrometer. These are lasers, of course, we purchased from various countries. Okay, and I escaped because of the want of the time. I will go to the last point. One thing I want to show you is temperature dependence. To your surprise, this is IO radical plus methyl alcohol, and this is IO radical plus ethyl alcohol. Remember, methyl alcohol is CH3OH and ethyl alcohol is CH3CH2OH. Just for one CH2, this has become negative temperature dependence, and methanol is positive temperature dependence. That is the difference. So every molecule behave differently. I just want to show you this, okay? And take home message, this is the complete fate of the compound and its potential to form ozone in the Earth's atmosphere can be investigated in our laboratory using super sensitive spectroscopic methods. So we should be careful in our releases, and we have to educate the people who are illiterate to not to throw the stuff into the atmosphere. Okay, and this is the laboratory what has been built. The cost of this lab is about 20 crores. This is from the northeast corner, and that is the southwest corner. And I mean, I have taken the pictures from both the ends, and you can see this is all. You can see all the gas lines. Everything comes from the rooftop. All the experimental setup is on the table. Therefore, the student can walk around. And safety is very, very important thing. Therefore, they can run away from any kind of blast. So this is all built by my students who are essentially, I take the students from the rural backgrounds and they have built it. And one more thing I want to tell you, we don't just build the things, but we also write the software to acquire the data. So all the students are well versed in writing the software to acquire the data and analyze it. So they are fit into any kind of academic institutions and industry or even software industries. Okay, this is what it is. And then this is my group, and that's it. Thank you very much. Sorry, I have taken 6 minutes extra.
Okay, sir, no problem, sir, but you have given a wonderful message, and you are doing a good research work regarding the environmental sciences, especially this ozone depletion of ozone layer and global warming. You have given a very good important kinetics regarding that, and it's a really wonderful class. We are very much impressed by your lecture, sir. Thank you very much. Even though you are very busy, you have given your valuable time. You have spent with us. Once again, on behalf of the YVNR Government Degree College, I am very thankful to you, sir.
No,
Would you
1
like to
minute,
ask-
sir. 1 minute, sir.
Sir.
Emmanuel, sir. Are there any questions from the audience?
Yeah, I'm asking like that. Any questions from, any queries from audience? You please ask. You can raise your queries to our Professor Rajkumar Balla. He is ready to give your answer any kind of query. Is there anybody? Any MSc students are there?
Hi, Ramesh.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Actually, MSc students and research students are there, but they have left, I think, now. Very sorry, sir. Ramesh Garu, say a few things to your friend.
Okay.
Yeah, tell me, Ramesh.
Thank you so much for being thank you so much.
Ramesh, we are not audible.
You are not audible, Ramesh.
Ramesh Garu, you are not audible.
Thank you, sir. Sir,
That's okay. We
Also-
can talk
also-
later. That's okay. We can talk later. But let the people ask questions if they have.
Okay. How audible, Rajkumar?
Yeah.
Audible and visible?
Yes.
Okay, Rajkumar, thank you. Thank you so much for giving your valuable time to me. Thank you so much. I am introducing in the absence of you. Sorry for that. Thank you so much. I thank you.
Yeah, Ramesh, fine. Yeah, it's my pleasure. It's not that busy or something. It's the management of the time. I'm running against a lot of deadlines. Therefore, that's why I asked you a specific time. Sorry about it, but yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Rajkumar Garu.
Okay,
see
fine,
you.
sir. Can I exit?
We'll meet you later, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So, with today's Professor Rajkumar Balla's speech or lecture, today's session is over. Today we are witnessing two important lectures, one from Dolla Tarun another from Rajkumar Bola sir. And tomorrow we are going to have two important sessions. That is from Dr. Arul Manikandan from Dublin University, Ireland. And the second one is Dr. Jashwan from Israel. He is going to speak about a comprehensive guide to crafting a sustainable research paper. So tomorrow we are going to have a wonderful material or wonderful lectures from the dynamic and young speakers. So we are going to join tomorrow by the same time by 2:45. We are going to start next day's session. And thank you very much to all of you. And over to Jala Babu sir, if you want to give any more announcements. Jala Babu sir.
No, sir. No, sir. Okay, we will conclude in the session. We end the webinar.
Yes, sir. So tomorrow, I think we are going to share the feedback or today.
No, sir. That is the one feedback link after the end of the valedictory session.
So participants, please make a note that we are going to share a feedback form only tomorrow only. So therefore, please fill the feedback and get your certificate. Thank you one and all for patient hearing and make this first day session a grand success. Thank you very much, sir. All of you.
Thank you, sir.